Good morning students. In this video we will discuss another vegetative organ, that is leaf. This is the last vegetative organ. So what is leaf? Leaf is flattened, green, dissimilar appendage which is originated exogenously from a node. Exogenous origin means if any organ originated from exterior part, then the origin is said to be exogenous. Already I told you the origin of lateral roots is called endogenous. Endogenous origin means if any organ originated from interior, then endogenous. If it is originated from exterior part, then origin is called exogenous. So the origin of leaf is called exogenous origin. And a leaf basically has three parts. Leaf base, this is the leaf base. The region where leaves arises, that is called leaf base, and second one is called petiole, and third one is called lamina. Lamina is also called leaf blade. So these are the three parts of leaf. First one is leaf base. So what is leaf base? Same. In the point where, or it is proximal region of stem where leaves arises. In some cases, the leaf base store the large amount of water and becomes swollen, and the swollen leaf base is called pulvinous. So pulvinous type of leaf base usually present in some of the legumes, for example Mimosa pudica. In Mimosa pudica, it is the scientific name of Mimosa pudica is the scientific name of touch-me-not plant. This is the scientific name. In Mimosa pudica, the leaf base store large amount of water and becomes swollen, and this swollen leaf base is called pulvinous. And what is the function of pulvinous? Pulvinous helps in sleeping or shocking movements. It helps in sleeping or shocking movements of the leaf. Pulvinous helps in sleeping or shocking movements of leaf. Or in some cases, the leaf base encloses the stem. If leaf base encloses the stem, such type of leaf bases are called. Such type of leaf base is called sheathing leaf base. Sheathing leaf base. If the leaf base encloses the stem, then the leaf base is called sheathing leaf base. A sheathing leaf base it is again two types. In some cases, it is called amplexicol, or in some cases, the sheathing leaf base is called semi-amplexicol. Amplexicol means if the leaf base is completely enclosed to the stem, then the sheathing leaf base is called amplexicol. Amplexicol type of leaf base usually present in some of the grasses. And semi-amplexicol. In semi-amplexicol, half of the stem enclosed by leaf base. If half of the stem enclosed by leaf base, then the sheathing leaf base is said to be semi-amplexicol leaf base. Semi-amplexicol leaf base present in plants like butter. In some cases, leaf base is pulvinous. Pulvinous store large amount of water and becomes swollen. In some cases, leaf base encloses the stem. Then it is called sheathing leaf base. Sheathing leaf base again two types, amplexicol and semi-amplexicol. In amplexicol, the stem is totally enclosed by leaf base. In semi-amplexicol, half of the stem enclosed by leaf base. And second part of the leaf is called petiole. What is the petiole? It is the axis. It is the axis or stalk. It is the axis or stalk of the leaf. Stalk of the leaf is called petiole. If petiole present, leaves are called petiolate. If petiole present, leaves said to be petiolate. In some cases, this petiole is absent. If petiole is absent, then leaves are called sessile. Or in some cases, petiole is short. If short petiole is present, then they are called semi-sessile. They are called semi-sessile leaves. If petiole present, then what is the advantage? If petiole present, then petiole leaves this green green portion, or it is nothing but lamina. It lifts the lamina for proper sunlight because it is the main site for photosynthesis. If petiole present, then petiole lifts the lamina for proper sunlight. And third part of leaf is called lamina, or lamina is also called leaf blade. So what is lamina? It is green expanded region. The green expanded region of the leaf is called lamina, or lamina is also called leaf blade. And this lamina possesses many veins and veinlets, and these veins and veinlets also contain midrib, and there is a proper vein that runs from base to apex of the leaf, that is called midrib, and midrib possesses many veins and veinlets. And veins and midrib, veins and veinlets, they are nothing but vascular tissues. Vascular tissues are usually xylem and phloem. Xylem and phloem, these two tissues are called vascular tissues, or they are also called conducting tissues, because xylem helps in conduction of water and minerals, and phloem helps in conduction of organic food material. So these veins and veinlets are nothing but vascular tissues. They help in conduction of water, minerals and food material, and these veins also gives mechanical support to the lamina. And this lamina, the lamina usually has two surfaces, upper surface and lower surface. Upper surface of the lamina is called adaxial, and lower surface is called abaxial surface. This is upper surface and this is lower surface. The upper lamina has two surfaces. For example, this is lamina. So this is upper surface and this is lower surface. The upper surface of the lamina is called adaxial and lower surface is called abaxial. Or in some plants like in dicots, both surfaces are differentiated, or both adaxial and abaxial surfaces appear in different green in color. Hence, in dicots, the lamina is called dorsiventral lamina. Dorsal side and ventral side. Dorsal side and ventral side appear different green in color. In some plants like monocots, both surfaces appear same green in color. Hence, the lamina is called isobilateral lamina. So lamina has two surfaces, and what is the main function of lamina? Lamina is the site for photosynthesis because it contains chlorophyll and it also receives the sunlight. So with the help of sunlight, chlorophyll and CO2, this part of the leaf perform photosynthesis and make their own food. But it has two surfaces, upper surface and lower surface. Upper surface is called adaxial and lower surface is called abaxial. In plants like dicots, both surfaces appear different green in color, hence is called dorsiventral. In plants like monocots, both surfaces appear same green in color, hence the lamina is called isobilateral lamina. And here, this is the base of the leaf, and base of the leaf also contains some of the small leaf-like structures, and these small leaf-like structures are called stipules. Small leaf-like structures present at base of the leaf is called stipules. If leaf has stipules, then leaf is called stipulate. If stipules absent, then leaves are called exstipulat. If stipules present, leaves are called stipulate. If stipules absent, then leaves are called exstipulat. So these are the three different types of parts. Now we will discuss another topic that is called venation. Venation. So what is venation? The arrangement of veins. The arrangement of veins and veinlets. Veins and veinlets in the lamina of a leaf is called venation. So venation usually gives mechanical support to the lamina. So already I told you lamina has midrib, veins and veinlets, and the arrangement of veins and veinlets in the lamina is called venation, and venation gives mechanical support to the lamina. And venation basically it is of two types: reticulate venation and parallel venation. reticulate and parallel venation. First one is reticulate venation. Reticulate venation usually it is the characteristic feature of dipods, and parallel venation is the characteristic feature of monopods. In reticulate venation, generally the lamina has many veins and venlets, and all these veins and venlets they fuse to form reticulum or they fuse to form network. So reticulate venation is characterized by the presence of reticulum or network. So reticulation or network, presence of reticulation or network is the characteristic feature of reticulate venation, and usually it is present in dipods, many dipods with some of the exceptions. For example, some dipods like corymbium and Caulophyllum and Eryngium. These dipod plants, usually all these three plants are dipods, but they possess parallel venation. Usually presence of reticulate venation is the characteristic feature of many dipods with some of the exceptions like corymbium, Caulophyllum and Eryngium. So now we will discuss about reticulate venation. And reticulate venation, what is the main characteristic feature of reticulate venation? Presence of reticulum or presence of network. And it is again reticulate venation again two types: pinnate reticulate venation and palmate reticulate venation. And what is the difference between these two, pinnate reticulation and palmate reticulation? In pinnate reticulate venation, the lamina has single midrib. In the lamina, only one midrib is present. In palmate reticulate venation, lamina possesses many midribs. What is the difference between these two? In pinnate reticulate venation, only lamina possesses only single midrib. In palmate reticulate venation, lamina has many midribs. For example, in pinnate reticulate venation, example mango, or many examples like this. This is the lamina. Lamina has single midrib, and this single midrib it runs from base to apex of the leaf. Only one midrib, and this lamina produce many veins, and in turn veins produce veinlets, and all these veins and veinlets, they fuse to form a reticulum or network-like structure. And this kind of venation is called pinnate reticulate venation. Pinnate reticulate venation, it is present in mango, mustard and all these plants. So this is the pinnate reticulate venation. So pinnate reticulate venation, lamina possesses single midrib. So this is the only one midrib, and this midrib runs from base to apex of the line. And second one is palmate reticulate venation. In palmate reticulate venation, lamina has many midribs, and depending on the position of midribs, and palmate reticulate venation again divided into convergent and divergent. It is again two types: convergent palmate and divergent palmate. In these two types, the lamina possesses many midrib. First one is convergent palmate reticulate venation. Example, Ziziphus. Ziziphus is the scientific name of, normally we said, blueberry. Ziziphus zizuba. In this type, so this is the lamina. This lamina possesses many midribs. So this is one midrib, and it also possesses another midrib, and it is another midrib. And all these midribs, they produces veins, and in turn veins produce many veinlets. All veins and veinlets, reticulate venation is of different types, but whatever the type, presence of reticulum is the characteristic feature, and this is called convergent. And what is the specific or unique nature of this convergent reticulate venation? What is the unique nature, and the lamina possesses many midribs, but all the midribs, they are fused. They are fused at apex. They are fused at apex of the lamina. And all these midribs, they produces veins and veinlets, and all these veins and veinlets, they fuse to form reticulum or network. Example, Zygotes. And the palmate, second type of palmate, that is called divergent. In divergent palmate reticulate venation, again lamina has many midribs, and the best example is passiflora. And one more example is Vitis vinifera. Vitis vinifera is the scientific name of grapevine, and this diagram is passiflora. It is the diagram of passiflora. Here the lamina is divided into lobes, and it has many midribs, and this midrib runs from base to apex of the lobes. Apex of lobes. In convergent, all midribs run from base to apex of the lip, because in convergent type the lamina is not divided into lobes, but in divergent the lamina is divided into lobes, and it has many midribs, because convergent and divergent both are types of palmate. In palmate, the main characteristic feature, the lamina has many midribs, and here also all the midribs, they produce veins and veinlets, and veins and veinlets in turn they fuse to form network. Presence of network is the characteristic feature of reticulate venation. But here all the midribs, they run from base to apex of the lobes, and they produce reticulum. Example, passiflora and Vitis vinifera. So these are the different types of reticulate venation. Reticulate venation, presence of reticulum is characteristic, and again two types, pinnate and palmate. In pinnate, single midrib present. In palmate, many midribs. They are again convergent and divergent. In convergent, all midribs, they are fused at apex, and they run from base to apex. Reticulum present. Divergent, all the midribs, they run from base to apex of the lobes. They produce reticulum, and different examples. So this is the first type of venation. And another type of venation is called parallel venation. The types of parallel venation and reticulate venation are the same type, but the basic difference is presence or absence. Presence or absence of reticulum. Parallel venation, usually it is the characteristic feature of monocots. Reticulate venation is the characteristic feature of dicots, with some exceptions. Like the parallel venation is also characteristic feature of monocots, with some exceptions, like orchids. Orchids, usually they are monocots, but they possess reticulate venation. Parallel venation, again, it is of two types. Pinnate parallel, types are same. Pinnate parallel and palmate parallel. But what is the difference? In parallel venation, reticulum is absent, because in this type all the veins and veinlets, they run parallel to each other. That's why they do not fuse. If they do not fuse, then reticulum or network is usually absent. Then again there are two types, pinnate and palmate. In pinnate, the lamina has single midrib. Lamina has single midrib, and in palmate types, lamina has many midribs. And in pinnate parallel venation, example, in this type of venation we can observe in the leaves of banana plant. For example, this is the midrib, and it possesses lamina, and this lamina produces midribs, and all midribs, they run parallel to each other. Lamina has single midrib. The lamina has single midrib, it produces veins, and veins run parallel to each other, and these veins do not fuse with each other. That's why reticulum or network is absent. Example 1. And second one is palmate parallel venation. So palmate parallel venation has many midribs. Again, it is again two different types: convergent and divergent. In convergent and divergent, in both these two types, lamina has many midribs. But in convergent, all midribs fuse at the apex. In divergent, all midribs run from base to apex of the lobes. In this type, the lamina is divided into lobes. The first one is convergent. Convergent palmate parallel venation. Example, usually this type of venation present in grasses. This is the lamina. It possesses many midribs, and all midribs they are fused at apex. They run parallel to each other. So reticulum or network is absent. Example, grasses. And second one is divergent. In divergent, the lamina is divided into lobes, and it has many midribs, and all midribs run from base to apex. The lamina is divided into lobes, and it possesses many midribs, and all midribs run from base to apex of the lobes, and they do not fuse, they run parallel to each other. Reticulum is absent. Example, this type of venation present in fan palm. So these are the different types of parallel venation. Now we will discuss another topic, that is types of leaves. Types of leaves. Usually leaves are two types. Some leaves are called simple leaves, and some leaves are called compound leaves. Simple and compound leaves. In simple leaf, what is simple and compound leaves? In simple leaf, the lamina is not completely divided. If the petiole has undivided lamina, then the leaves are called simple leaves. In some cases, the lamina divided to form lobes, and such leaves are also called simple leaves. In this type, the incisions means cuttings, and these cuttings do not reach the midrib. If incisions reach the midrib, then the lamina divided to form many leaflets. But in simple leaf, the petiole has undivided or divided lamina. But in divided lamina, the incisions are cuts. They do not reach the midrib. And such leaves are called simple leaves. Simple leaves means if the petiole has unlobed or lobed lamina, is called simple leaf. And simple leaves are usually present in plants like mustard, mango, and all these plants. And second one is compound leaves. In compound leaves, the lamina is completely divided. To form many small number of structures, and these small structures are called leaflets. If lamina divided to form leaflets, then leaves are said to be compound leaves. In compound leaves, the incisions are cuts. There is the midrib to form many leaflets. And in compound leaves, for example, this is midrib, and these are the incisions of lamina. There is the midrib to form many leaflets. And these all leaflets are arranged on common axis, and this common axis is called rachis, or simply the axis of compound leaf. Is called rachis, and the leaflets, this angle is also called axial. But leaflets do not possess auxiliary buds. This is the main leaf. All leaflets are collectively known as a single leaf, and this axial, the main axial of the leaf possesses auxiliary buds, nodes, and internodes. But the leaflets do not possess auxiliary buds. And all the leaflets are arranged on common axis, and this common axis is called rachis, and rachis is also called pink. And these compound leaves are usually divided. Further, they are classified into two types: pinnate compound leaves, and palmate compound leaves. In pinnate compound leaves, all leaflets are In pinnate compound leaves, leaflets present at any part on rachis or pinna. In palmate compound leaves, all leaflets arise from a common point. This is the difference. In pinnate compound leaves, leaflets present, they are present at any part of the pinna, or pinna also divided into number of types. In palmate compound leaves, all leaflets they are originated from a common point. So now we will discuss about pinnate compound leaves. In pinnate compound leaves, lamina rachis possesses number of leaflets. Pinnate compound leaves, depending on number of pinna, pinnate compound leaves are again divided into 4 types. What are the 4 types? Unipinnate compound leaves, bipinnate compound leaves, tripinnate compound leaves, tripinnate compound leaves, and decompound leaves. These are the 4 types of pinnate compound leaves. First one is unipinnate compound leaf. Uni means single, pinna means sachet. So this compound leaf has only one pinna and leaflets present on rachis. And depending on the position of leaflets, unipinnate compound leaves again divided into peripinnate and imperipinnate. Peripinnate compound leaves and imperipinnate compound leaves. In peripinnate compound leaves, for example, this is peripinnate compound leaves. In peripinnate compound leaves, the rachis contain even number of leaflets. For example, Tamarindus indica. Tamarindus indica is the scientific name of tamarind or imli. Tamarind. It is the scientific name of tamarind. And it has even number of leaflets. Only one rachis present, only one pinna is present, and this rachis has even number of leaflets, and the apex of the pinna also terminates with a pair of leaflets. Then this type of unipinnate compound leaf is called peripinnate compound leaves. And second one is imperipinnate. In imperipinnate, it contains odd number of leaflets. For example, so this is single pinna, and this single pinna has many leaflets. These are the leaflets, and the apex of the leaflet. So the apex of the pinna terminates with a single leaflet, and this type of unipinnate compound leaf is called imperipinnate. Unipinnate compound leaf. Example, neem. This is the example. So in unipinnate compound leaf, the compound leaf has single rachis and it has many leaflets at any part. And depending on the number of leaflets, it is again 2 types, peripinnate and imperipinnate. In peripinnate, even number of leaflets present, and in imperipinnate, odd number of leaflets are present. And second one is bipinnate compound leaves. In bipinnate compound leaves, the compound leaves possesses 2 rachis. For example, this is primary rachis, and primary rachis produce secondary rachis. And leaflets present on secondary rachis. This is the primary compound leaf has first rachis, that is called primary rachis, and this primary rachis produce many secondary rachis, and leaflets present on secondary. These are the leaflets present on secondary rachis, and this type of leaves are usually present in Mimosa pudica. Tasmina. Mimosa pudica is the scientific name of Tasmina. This is bipinnate. Two pinna present. Bi means 2 or pinna means pinna or rachis. This is the primary rachis, and primary rachis produce many secondary rachis, and usually leaflets present on secondary rachis. In unipinnate compound leaves, leaflets present on primary rachis. In bipinnate compound leaves, leaflets present on secondary rachis. And third one is tripinnate compound leaf. In tripinnate compound leaves, 3 pinna present. This is primary pinna, and primary pinna produce secondary pinna. These are the secondary pinna, and secondary pinna or secondary rachis produce many tertiary rachis, and usually leaflets present on tertiary rachis. In primary rachis and secondary rachis, leaflets are absent. Usually leaflets present on tertiary rachis. Leaflets present on tertiary rachis. Example, moringa. Moringa is the scientific name of drumstick. It is the scientific name of drumstick. And next one is decompound leaves. In decompound leaves, the leaves possesses more than 3 rachis. And here rachis and leaflets, they are fused to form a complex structure. Example is coriander. In coriander, so like this, rachis and leaflets are they are fused, but more than 3 leaflets present. Leaflets and rachis are fused to form a complex structure. So this is called decompound leaf, and example coriander. And these are the 4 types of pinnate compound leaves. And next one is palmate compound leaves. Second one is palmate compound leaves. In palmate compound leaves, all the leaflets arranged from common point, and depending on number of leaflets, palmate compound leaves are again different types. Unifoliate palmate compound leaves, bifoliate compound leaves, trifoliate compound leaves, tetrafoliate compound leaves, and multifoliate compound leaves. In unifoliate compound leaves, this is the pinna, and apex of the pinna has single leaflet. Example, citrus species. And bipinnate, the tip of the pinna has 2 leaflets. Example is examples are artichoke. And tripinnate compound leaves, 3 leaflets present. Example, wood apple. So wood apple generally it is called bale. And tetrafoliate compound leaves, 4 leaflets present. Example, marsilia. It is a foreign plant. And multifoliate, more than 4 leaflets present. If more than 4 leaflets present, then the leaf is called multifoliate leaflets. Example, silk. So these are the different types of palmate. Compound leaves. So these are various types of leaves.